Advanced English Arabic Learning Session 94. The scheme allows for the partial remission of tuition fees. For every day they work, the prisoners earn 1 day's remission of their sentence. The captured general was flayed alive. He flayed the government for not moving fast enough on economic reform. The issue received overwhelming endorsement. The refusal to allow them to testify effectively emasculated the committee. We had our differences in the past, but that's all water under the bridge. The goalkeeper gifted Liverpool their last-minute winner. They did not look the gift horse in the mouth when the opportunity for victory presented itself. Why shouldn't you look a gift horse in the mouth? Because a horse's age can be determined by inspecting its teeth. Looking a gift horse in the mouth could be considered rude because the person is essentially examining the horse to see if it measures up to their standards. Colonizers clear-cut large jungle tracts. The distinction between kinship and affinity is not always clear-cut. The brick of the villages was pulverized by the bombardment. He had a winning car and pulverized the opposition. The mares are inseminated when they are at their most receptive. We asked him to get to the point, but he just waffled away. I was fobbed off with bland reassurances. The second-rate products fobbed off on many beer drinkers. He nodded off to the drone of the car engine. Drone, a male bee in a colony of social bees, which does no work but can fertilize a queen. The university takes all the profit and redistributes it to drones like him. Pilots use remote controls to guide a stealth reconnaissance drone. I didn't want to take sides because I didn't want to get drawn into their arguments. Clear-cut forests are unappealing for recreation. Everyone will have to compromise to some extent. The experience almost frightened me away for good. A lot of Hollywood movies fail the cartoonist Alison Bechdel test miserably. Bechdel test is a way of evaluating whether or not a film portrays women in a way that is sexist or characterized by gender stereotyping. Drag race is a race between two cars over a short distance, as a test of acceleration. While the sweet potato is cooking, crumb the fish. Other people may be slow to cotton on. His rivals didn't cotton to all the attention he was getting. Most creatures conk out smartly once they have passed on their genes. Eels is a snake-like fish with a slender elongated body, proverbial for its slipperiness. Most drug dealers eventually wind up in run-ins with the police. Library staff will waive fines where there are genuine extenuating circumstances. He didn't make any crass remarks during filming. I called him earth slime a bunch of times. You should definitely plead not guilty to your criminal or traffic charge. She pleaded guilty to the 3 murders and 2 attempted murders. Our courts are clogged with lawsuits pleading redress of wrongs perpetrated on employees. During his mitigation plea, he restated his claim that he was the victim of a political conspiracy. She made an emotional plea to the county council to fund a bypass. The guilty plea of the accused to both charges laid against him is also mitigating. Stop talking without lawyer. Anything you say can be admissible against you. He bungeed 100 meters from the bridge over the Victoria Falls. Bungee jumping is an activity that involves a person jumping from a great height while connected to a large elastic cord. The meeting carried over into the afternoon. Kids who feel so entitled and think the world will revolve around them. Pretzel is a crisp biscuit baked in the form of a knot or stick and flavored with salt. The film recounts a year in the hardscrabble life of a tenant farmer. Your reindeer games is over. Queen Pin is a woman who is essential to the success of a group, organization, or operation. Radio aerials snagged on bushes and branches. It's the first time they've snagged the star for a photo. The smiling little girl snagged her phone while performing a dance. She was the sole beneficiary of the will, ergo the prime suspect per se. If they are allowed to inbreed even further, this can eventually spoil the species. Playpen is a small portable enclosure in which a baby or small child can play safely. Water slopped around in the bottom of the boat. At weekends he would slop about in his oldest clothes. They think a farmer's wife spends all her time slopping hogs. She emptied some slops for the chickens. She peered through the security peephole in the solid oak door. The curriculum is skewed towards the practical subjects. The fairground ride turned riders topsy-turvy. He unequivocally denies all allegations of abuse made by her. The architect given carte blanche to design the store. Bitten was cloistered during the coronavirus surge this spring. The opprobrium of being closely associated with gangsters. The course is run under the auspices of the Anglican Church. They use other people callously and remorselessly for their own ends. She tucks him in, snugging the blanket up to his chin. I stuck my head between the banisters. Tuck into 9 courses of stunning Thai cuisine. A tummy tuck is a surgical operation to reduce surplus flesh or fat. I'm used to keeping my driving license tucked away in a drawer. She loathes Hollywood, finds it distasteful and banal. She hates the idea of her art being tainted by commerce. Nothing she said seemed to make an iota of difference. They had no conscience, no morals, not an iota of mercy. His sister gave him a consoling pat on the back. She tried to console him, but he pushed her gently away. He eschewed a consoling effort from assistant coach. He appealed to the crowd to eschew violence. George and his ilk are eschewing mainstream acts. They seemed enamored with each other as they made their way to shore. Starting your own business can be very tough, but you just have to grit your teeth and keep working at it. She grits her teeth and rolls her eyes skyward. The teeny-tiny lace ensemble did little to preserve Vicky's modesty. A dread of specters and witches affected every aspect of daily life. She has been quick to vehemently deny the story. I think of my playing as committed. I can't remember ever phoning it in at any performance. Diseases that heretofore were usually confined to rural areas. Britney Spears won't attend conservatorship hearing in court. We've ranched this area for almost 2 decades, farmed. The country has exhausted its treasury reserves. You should never exhaust bathroom air into your attic. The puddles had coalesced into shallow streams. His idea served to coalesce all that happened into one connected whole. This personal loss is formative to his determination to combat terrorism. She was the epitome of a blushing bride. The company epitomized the problems faced by British industry. The eponymous famous hero of the novel. A contemporary feel that encapsulated the venue. Asila also gave a scintillating performance. The official machinery was blatantly misused to wreak vengeance and carry out vendetta. He has accused the British media of pursuing a vendetta against him. Senile crone with odious lustrous eyes. If you do something cruel out of spite, He thinks Dan has vandalized the car out of spite. Out of spite is done because of one's own spiteful. Decorative pendants may need a special sealing fitting. Lustres are a prismatic glass pendant on a chandelier or other ornament. The police discovered that the car was booby-trapped. He wiped his hands on the tail of his grubby vest. The restaurant's style is raunchy and the sanitation is chancy. Though they were speaking in undertones, she could hear them. I was hunting for work. Jobs were scarce though. He showed a blatant disregard for the laws of the UK. Qatar has slashed the rates for all water sport activities. A legacy is something which we deposit into this life that will outlast us for generations to come. It is one of life's sad ironies. The soul long outlasts that which the heart can't endure. A stout tailwind was giving a friendly boost. Mozart's sublime piano concertos. The horror that the second wave unleashed on us. We have decided to meet the emergency on a war footing. Serbia on Wednesday announced measures that brought the country nearer to war footing. It didn't take me long to put us on a war footing. Residential builders could always outbid any farmer for the land round London. To embed itself in global ecosystems. If forewarned is truly forearmed, the 2005 parade should be a real humdinger. 2005. The boundary between the two manors was properly staked out. Elena was staking out a role for herself as a formidable political force. They were looking for a vantage point for a stakeout. To focus on issues where common ground can be staked out. His claim to fame is the invention of the stapler. The restaurant's claim to fame is its barbecue sauce. The restaurant's real claim to fame is the cooking method. Alina Reyes shot to fame a few years ago with her extraordinary first novel. The guy was running, then he had a heart attack and carked it. The pressure of his job nearly drove him round the bend. If you ask me, she's completely round the bend. There are fine meals to be had if you ask around. Gangs of drunken youths roamed the streets. He was so drunk he lurched from wall to wall. We staggered up the path like a couple of drunks. They bashed him over the head with a blunt object. A peddler bawling his wares. To bawl is to bark and howl like a dog. She was pretty cut up about them leaving the gravelly bed of the stream. The place was once home to vast beds of oysters. The lawns are flanked by rose beds. A bed of clay. The salad is served on a bed of raw spinach. Place each paver on a bed of concrete. You can bed down in the shed. Innerwear is clothing worn underneath other clothing. He was almost bowling people over in his haste. His performance bowled me over. The Rose Bowl is an American outdoor athletic stadium, located in the Los Angeles. The Hollywood Bowl. The end. Coming next. Session 95.